Hi everyone, welcome back to RTS and welcome back to our 4 for 4 series. Yes, a fall round. Yes, we are absolutely going to do a fall round of our 4 for 4 series, which we absolutely had great success with the last time. And if you're just new to joining in and you want more of a refresher course, or if you want to see what we did, I will have the links below. You can go back and watch all of that. Yes, okay. So now what we're going to do is we are actually going to make our kit today, and then we are going to cut our papers because we are just going to get started. That's exactly what we're going to do. We're just going to roll up our sleeves and get started. So I probably will not go into as much detail and explaining as I did in the first round, so I again will link that video below and you can watch that, okay, because it's the same thing, exact same thing, except we have a new addition of an element if you wish to do so. Okay, so let's get cracking. So now again, when you're making a kit, your photos, you can have your photos in hand and pick your papers, or you can have maybe an idea and just keep that in the back of your mind, because we're doing fall. I'm doing a fall round, fall theme, but you don't have to, okay? And I'll talk about that in just a minute. And then you can also just have, do your kit and then do your pages and maybe find some photos, print them in black and white, and they'll be fine. Or you absolutely can do this kit, do the series, and then print your photos later, okay? So just don't add your photos at this time. It's whatever you want to do. I will say that over the years, if I make a page and I don't use the photos at the time I'm making the page, it's very hard for me to go back and add the photos. That's just the way I am. Of course, then I have a problem with getting journaling done too. So, that is what it is. So if you're someone that maybe struggles finishing pages, go ahead now, start thinking about your photos and get them printed and in hand, okay? Because then at the end of the series, you will have 4 layouts completed and 4 cards, because that is what the 4 for 4 series is all about. Okay, now if you are a double page gal, what you do is you pick double the papers. That's it. Just double the pattern papers, double the cardstock, and the envelopes if you're going to do the cards. Okay, but that's all you do. Everything else is the same except double the papers. And then also too, if you do not want to do fall layouts, no worries. If you want to work on what you want to work on, still do this series. Just don't pick fall papers. You can pick any paper you want. I'm just doing a fall round because it's that type of year. Okay, we're in that season for fall. Okay, so now of course I had 3 different options here, because when we did our prep video, I wanted to show that you do not have to use fall papers, and you can just use a collection that's already put together by a manufacturer. You can absolutely do summer pages, Christmas pages, Valentine's, or a day at the beach. Or you can absolutely go through your own inventory and stash and pick your own kit. So what do you think I'm going to go with? Well, this one's out because I'm going to do fall. And this is Carbella, my favorite, and it has the texture, which is something we're going to talk about in this series and this making the kit. But I went with this. Okay, this is what I went with. This is what I'm going with my kit. Yes. Okay, so you can see that I have these papers here, and let's see, I have one from Authentique, 2 from Bella Boulevard, 1 from Photoplay. Oh, I have 3 from Bella Boulevard. Oh, interesting. I didn't even know that. I just went by color. I didn't go by collection. I didn't go by manufacturer. I went by color because this was my inspiration piece. And honestly, as I was traveling this summer, I had happened to just walk into a store and they were just putting these on the shelf, so I was surprised because this hasn't been on my radar, but it's an Authentique paper from this year, and the collection is called Pleasant. I didn't know anything about it. Okay, so of course the best thing about Authentique is that they always have a quote on the top of their paper, and with this line it says, "Life starts all over again when it gets crisp in the fall." Yes, I don't know if it starts all over again. I think things slow down, but that's cute. Okay, so again, you can see what my color palette is going to be. Definitely fall. And I took my mustard yellow. Well, this was my mustard yellow, and I got my orange and my green, and then some brown, and then I had this piece of Photoplay, which I thought that would be something different. It's not a tone on tone, it's multicolor. You know how I struggle with that, but then I try to embrace the things. So that is what you do when you are making this kit. You find an inspiration piece or something with some extra, a little bit of extra color, and then you pull your papers from that inspiration piece. And so there's my color scheme for my 4 for 4 series fall round. Okay, and I absolutely love that brown too. I love all of those. Okay, so then after you make your kit, again, 4 papers and your bonus, okay? Or your inspiration piece and 4 pieces, however you want to look at that, okay? It's 4 pieces of paper plus a bonus. So now, what you need to do, and some of you will know because we did this round before, and some of you will know because you made this mistake. Remember what I said in the first series, you need to number your papers? And you need to keep them in this order until you write it down, until you get it in your memory bank. And there's nothing wrong with snapping a photo too. That way you'll have it on your phone in case you lose your paper, okay? But this is going to be my number 1 paper, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5. Why is that important? Well, when we start cutting our papers and actually constructing our layouts, you will need to know those numbers. So you cannot skip this step when you are doing this series, okay? You have to number your papers, okay? So that is my 1 through 5 in that order. And I have a note here and I know what they are. Okay, so then what we're going to do is we are going to pick something else. Okay, so you could absolutely, I want to give a couple options. If you don't want to do this bonus and a 12 of 12, or you can absolutely, in substitution of this bonus sheet, I'm a big proponent of using scraps. So there's nothing wrong with, instead of putting this 5th sheet, this is my number 5 sheet, okay? Instead of your number 5 sheet, because this is going to be our bonus and our buffer. And why do we need a bonus and a buffer? Well, because sometimes when you're cutting, you make mistakes. Sometimes when you're doing a layout, you need something extra. So that's why we have a bonus. Okay, you got to have a buffer because, you know, sometimes we do cut things wrong, okay? Sometimes we make mistakes. So then you absolutely can go and pick, you can pick some scraps in your color scheme. Now, if you notice what I pulled a few out. Now, I will not use scraps in this series because I wanted to show in the first round and in this round that how far 4 pieces of paper can go, okay? But if you're someone who likes to layer, if you want to add additional things, getting scraps in is a great way to do it, okay? Now, I don't have any orange, but that's okay. Just pull whatever you have. This is my color scheme minus the orange, okay? So you can add a buffer, you can add scraps, and then you can do one other thing, okay? Because in a few days, or already listed, is an organizing 6x6 paper pad. So you know paper pads in the 6x6 size will be on my brain for a while, okay? So you absolutely, instead of picking a 12x12 buffer sheet, okay, or picking scraps, you can simply pick 4, I don't want to move these scraps here a minute, you can simply take 4 6x6 papers in your color scheme as your buffer, okay? So you can do one of the 3 or all 3 or a mixture. It's however you want to do it, okay? Again, I will not use these in the series because I want to show what you can do with this bonus sheet. But again, there's nothing wrong with that, okay? So maybe in the Christmas round, maybe I'll do something with the scraps and the 6x6. But in this one, this is what you can do. Again, if you're someone who uses a lot of layers, you can pick some scraps. Instead of the 12x12 bonus, you could pick out 4 6x6 and get some of those used up. Okay, love this, love this, love this. Okay, okay. Now, I will tell you, if I wasn't doing a series and trying to stay close to my original instructions, I would definitely be using these in this kit. But I wanted to, in this original series, I wanted to show, okay, I'll just lay these here for a minute as I'm chatting. I wanted to show that with just 4 pieces of paper, you can do 4 layouts. Absolutely. That's what I wanted to show, and I want to stick with that original idea. Okay, because once you start throwing in scraps and this, you don't get a visual as to what your bare bones design can be. Okay, so, but like I said, if I wasn't sticking to certain instructions, I would be using this, and I probably would be grabbing a pile of them. Yes, can't go wrong with that. No. Okay. Okay, so then after you do your 4 pieces of paper and your bonus and the addition of scraps or 6x6 or both or all 3 or none, doesn't matter. Now we're going to pick out 4 background papers. Now this is something that even though I've been scrapbooking a long time, I still cannot sometimes think of my background sheet until I'm actually playing with photos and my layout. So this is one of those things you pick 4. But in the back of your mind, tell yourself it's okay if you don't use them and you need to go pick something else, okay? But since for me, this is a fall theme, I know I'm going to stick with some neutrals and then also to some things that make me feel like fall. So I definitely, you know, I had to put a wood grain in. Yes, there's my wood grain. Okay, and that, again, that's another authentique paper. Oh, and you know what? That's from the same, I just now saw that. That's from that same collection. Pleasant just came out. Okay, I want to show you something. See how that says $1.09? Guess what they were priced? So they must have went up and priced, or they just priced them wrong. 99 cents now, that's $1.09. $1.09 per piece of paper. Like I said, you know, I'm on spending free, so I probably wouldn't have got to buy them, but they were in a specialty shop when I stopped in, so I was like, I was surprised. Okay, so then I picked something that, again, went with, you know, my fall papers, and then also, too, I do have one story in mind, and this type of background would work good, and then, of course, I use a brick. And a brick. Okay, so I have two browns, a white, and an ivory. And when I don't know when I'm creating a kit, that's what I'll do. Sometimes I'll add white just because I always use white, and since this is fall themed, I got in some ivory. Okay, so I have a mixture. Now if you don't, now these basically have a pattern, but you can go all plain cardstock, or you could pick two plain, two pattern, whatever you want to do, whatever fits your style when it comes to your background papers. Okay, so that is my background papers, and I will just stick those here. So I'm loving that already. So I said that in the last series, that if you're getting excited while you're making this kit, then you're doing something right. Yes. Okay. Now we're going to add in 4, because 4 keeps repeating itself many times in this series, is that we're going to pick 4 8.5 by 11 cardstock. Okay. Now this is an optional thing. If you don't want to make cards, skip the cards, okay? But, you know, why not stretch your supplies a little bit more, have 4 cards ready to send. Absolutely. Okay, and then I have 2 for matting and 2 for cards, or a mixture, whatever I decide to use. Again, the same thing basically as my background. I picked a white, ivory, and basically a craft. So that's what I'm using for my 4.5 by 11 cardstock. Again, this is optional. If you don't mat, skip. If you don't want to make the cards, skip. But if you want to mat and do cards, put in that 4 8.5 by 11 cardstock. Now, if you don't have 8.5 by 11 cardstock and you want to do some matting, again, you could pull some scraps. Don't worry about that. And then if you don't have this to make cards, because this is a size envelope I use, okay? And I just buy them in bulk. And again, what did I pick? I picked 4 envelopes. You can absolutely, instead of going this round, this right here, you could just use 4 card bases that already have the envelopes, okay? So don't stress over that. It doesn't have to be done exactly the way I do it. Okay. And again, you can skip that if you want to, okay? Not everybody wants to do cards. But I said, hey, when cards are getting to be $3, $4, $5, $6, $7 a piece, yeah, I'm going to make some cards. Okay. Now, what we're going to do then is we are going to pick some alphas. Okay. And how many alphas do you think we're going to pick? 4. Yes, 4. Okay. So what I did is as I did in the last round, I picked 2 thickers. And then I have, this is a mini, and then this is basically, well, I don't know, that'd be about the same as thickers, but it was just in a small. Is there only one sheet in that? I guess so. But these were by October afternoon. But I love the color scheme. So I got my wood grain in, light wood grain, that mustard yellow, and my orange, okay? Now, I wish I would have found a green. I just don't have that color as far as alphas. So I went with what I had, again, in my color scheme. Again, a variety of fonts and variety of sizes. And that's, I'm hoping you can see that. And that's what you want to do with your alphas, okay? Now, if you don't like thickers, skip. Go with what you like, what's your style, but pick 4. So we have options, okay? I'll move that because that's probably a little bit of a glare, okay? Now, let's start getting into the fun stuff. Yes, okay. So we're going to pick some washi. How many? 4, absolutely. And that's what I picked. I picked these 4 washi. Now, I said in the last series, too, that not everybody likes washi, and that's okay. You don't have to. So a lot of us have a lot of washi, so go ahead and pick 4 washi in your color scheme, whether you're doing the fall or the summer, whatever you're doing in your color scheme. Again, you see what my color scheme is. It's this right here. It's wood grain, orange, green, and this mustard yellow. That is my color scheme for this fall round of this kit making. Okay. And I'm excited. But again, I had to search and search for this green. I just didn't have a lot. Huh. Interesting to know. So again, 4 washi. And then you can also pick, what do I have next on the list? Well, border stickers or border strips, okay? Now, if washi isn't your thing, you can go with this. Or if washi and border stickers are your thing, do both, Yes. Now, of course, on a washi roll, you're going to get more than 12 inches. So I would pick more than 4. You know, you could absolutely pick 8, 12, whatever you want to go with. And again, you see what I did. I picked my color scheme. Right there's my color scheme. I have that green, which I love that plaid. Okay. Now, for me, I will be doing all 3 of these. The washi, the border stickers, and the strips. And up next is ribbon, because I like to have options. And I want to show options. Okay. But if you don't like washi, you can go with border stickers. And if you don't want to do this route, you can pull out some of your ribbon and twine, but I'm gonna put this in with texture, but keep twine in your mind when you're thinking of ribbon on this round, okay? But I'm gonna put that with our texture, okay? So what I did was I picked out 4 ribbons, okay? Now, definitely with fall, and of course, some of you will know this because I had a prep video, that we're going to add in the element of texture. And so ribbon is one of the best ways you can get in your texture. So if you don't want to go with ribbon, maybe go with twine. But when I was pulling my ribbon, I definitely went by texture. I mean, look at this fringe. Oh, I don't know if I'm going to get that on a page, but I'm going to give it a go. Yes, and so again, there's my color scheme. Didn't have orange, but I had got that in there. Oh, love them. Love, love, love. Okay, so again, you could pick 4 washi or 4 ribbon or some border stickers, border strips, or you can pick all 3 or a combination. There's no wrong way. You pick what you want, and again, what fits your style. Okay, now we're going to get into the tools. Okay, I should have left some of those in there. Oh no, I won't have room. Okay, maybe I should. I like to see how a kit comes together. Okay, maybe I will stick those in there. We'll see. We'll see what we come up with. I might run out of room. Okay, maybe I'll stick my ribbon here. Okay, but I'm in love with that yellow fringe. Yes, okay. So what next? We're going to add a tool or 2, okay? So what you can do, if you want, is you pick 1 border punch. Just 1, not 4, just 1. And why just 1? Because if you just have 1 and it's sitting on your desk the whole time you're doing your layouts, you're more apt to grab this 1 than if you had an option of 4. How that works, I don't know, but just 1 border punch. Okay, and I'll stick that there. Okay, and then if you want to, you can also add in a shape punch or do one or the other. Maybe edge punches is not your bag. That's okay. You can pick a shape punch to go with the theme, mood, and feel of your kit. Okay, if you're doing summer, maybe you want to pick a clouds, okay, or a sun. Or if you are working on Disney pages, maybe you want to do a circle. Okay, I am working with fall, so I'm using the hexagon this time. Last time I used a circle, I'm going to use a hexagon punch because you know I'm in love with my hexagon punches. Okay, so that is the tools. 1 edge punch, 1 shape punch, or 1 of each. Okay, absolutely. Okay, so now let's talk about the new thing that we're going to add in this round, which is texture, because this is again fall themed, and so when I think fall and cozy and warmth, texture is the word that pops out. So that is what we're going to do. So we get to add another tool. Yes, and that is going to be embossing folders. And of course, mine is like a quilt design, so I'm absolutely happy with that. I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do for photos. I only have 1 in mind, but it doesn't matter. It's fall themed. It's quilt-like. It'll be fine for me. Again, it adds a texture. And then I had showed this in the prep video too, that with texture, you could add in felt and corrugated paper, burlap, cork, okay, and then canvas, and then twine and fabric. Now, you can absolutely, if you have these type, now these are 6x6. All 3 of these are 6x6. You can tell I've been organizing my 6x6 paper pads. I know what I have and where it's at now. So this was 6x6. So you absolutely could just see if you have these type of textures in your 6x6 pads. I'm sure some of us do. Okay, and then also 2 felt. You may just have a piece of felt. You could just grab pieces of this type of thing for texture, or when you're pulling embellishments, you can keep that in your mind. You can do it one of 2 ways. Okay, again, this is canvas. Now, this is a banner piece, but I'm using it for canvas. Now, the only thing is, I was thinking, I don't know how I'm going to use canvas if I don't have a die that'll go through that, but I'm going to come up with something. Maybe I'll just have to cut something by hand. And then I threw this fabric in here, again, because this was something I had picked up in a specialty shop. And I thought, boy, that would look pretty with my fall kit. Now, here's the thing. Will I use fabric? I have no idea. But I love the inspiration that it'll give me. okay? Maybe if just by color or pattern. So if you have some embellishments that are corrugated or cork or burlap or canvas or with fabric, this is the time to pull it out, okay? So keep that in mind when you're picking embellishments, okay? And I'll show you some of mine embellishments that I kept this in mind, okay? But I will keep all of these elements in my kit, okay? I haven't pulled, why not? So then the other thing that we can add in this round for texture is wood veneer. Okay, and again, my wood veneer that I picked basically has a fall theme. It's got leaves. Actually, this one says I love fall. Well, look how perfect. And this is just one of those drawers I had with where I have wood veneer, and I have this type of leaves, and there's actually feathers too. Feathers would be good if you're doing fall. Feathers and leaves and stems and that type of thing. That might be a type of shape punch you could add, would be a stem or a leaf, okay? So keep that in your mind. Okay, so I'm definitely just going to keep this drawer, and that's exactly what I'm going to do for my kit, because my kit will be sitting on my desk until I'm done with my layouts. Okay, so now we get to start with the fun stuff, and that is adding some embellishments, okay? Now, we have plenty here. But when you sit down and you're going to do 4 layouts and 4 cards, you need to have some options, okay? Because you just don't know, especially if you don't have all your photos picked, and you just don't know. And plus, it's fun making a kit. So when it comes to picking embellishments, here's the thing to keep in mind. Don't spend 40 minutes. Spend about 4 or 5 minutes picking out your embellishments, okay? That's the key thing, because if you spend 40 minutes, you're going to overthink it. If you tell yourself, well, what you grab in 4, you grab in 4, and then you're done, and it makes the decision process quicker, okay? Again, you're going to go by mood and feel. You're going to go by your kit colors. You're going to go with the theme that you're working on, and also what you want to work on. And then this is the one thing I want to say, regardless of what you pick now, don't worry. If you find something later, add to it. If you're working on the page and you get reminded, oh, maybe I have those type of stickers, you can always go get it later. This isn't a one for done. This is just a head start, a good, a good start. And then of course with your embellishments, keep your texture in mind, and then also too, your bonus embellishments. So you might as well think about that too. Your texture and your bonus embellishments while you're picking out your embellishments. Now, why is there a bonus embellishment? Because I think with any kit, you should always play with your favorite thing. Yeah, and we'll talk about that. Okay, so here's what I have for my embellishments. And I will just keep some of this here. Okay, why not? And so I have some Jen Hatfield stickers. Now, this maybe not go with my color scheme, but this is my mood and feel. Okay, so keep that in your mind. I'm working on fall pages. So anything that makes me feel of home, family, cozy, and warmth, and, anything like that. Okay? Oh, there's some green leaves. But see the homes and the birds and the hearts, yeah, and trees, things like that. But the pink, who knows what you can work with, okay? And then I have these We Are Memory Keepers Country Living chipboard, okay? I have to show you something. I'll show you that in just a minute. Okay, so definitely mood and feel and colors, both in one. This is chipboard, so there I have flat, I have chipboard. So not only do I go by mood and feel and by colors, I also go by texture, or, by dimension. Some are flat, some are chipboard, and now I have my texture. I have cork. Okay, again, these are We Are Memory Keepers. I believe that was a Shine collection. Okay, and I'm going to show something with these 2 things. And then I have some more. These are by, what is that, crepe paper, the Open Road? Yes. And again, what I saw is a few colors, and then I saw these feathers, and then I just saw the orange and the green. I just picked it because sometimes I have trouble getting in some green. Okay, so I just picked that. Again, I just saw some of these colors. Well, I know they fit. Well, it's homey, so there you go. And then again, this was crepe paper. This was definitely, I got the squirrel and the acorn, and so I just saw theme. Autumn, I saw theme, okay? And then again, more colors here, okay? This is by Jelly Bean Soup, and of course, it has some of that green. That's why I picked it. I saw green, okay? And then I have Fancy Pants Atwell, because I saw green and feathers, and also that mustard yellow, okay? So that, well, and now of course that red, maybe, okay? Again, this was color, and then also theme, okay? And then wood veneer, again, that texture. Now this blue, I don't know if it will work on some pages, but this is one of those type of things that when you're working on a kit, just because I use my fall themed papers, that doesn't mean I can always add in additional colors, because look at this. Now this is Fancy Pants, this is Momenta, but this blue and this wood veneer will absolutely perfectly match the blue in these. So I maybe could add an additional color, and I didn't even mean to. Love when that happens. And then of course I have some more. These are Webster's pages, and these are just some fall stickers that I had in a little tin, and I saw that and I thought, why not? It says fall. Oh, there's some more. See, I used this as a whole kit one time, and so I have some stragglers. I saw the squirrel. That made me think of it. And then again, craft. You can't go wrong with craft, whatever kit you do. And then craft photo corners and burlap bows. Again, keeping that texture in mind. And then now I have color in mind. And I went with some little mini stickers that had to do with some colors, okay? Honestly, I think it was about 6 minutes pulling it all together. I tried to really be mindful of that. And then, of course, I found this die cut pack that actually matches this sticker, okay? So that's the only reason why I pulled that, okay? So that's the embellishments. And then, of course, you know what my favorite embellishment is. And my bonus embellishment, okay, is my breads. Yes. So I absolutely loved going through my bread box, okay? And I pulled some breads. And I have a squirrel, a hedgehog, a bird, okay? Or maybe it's a hawk. I don't know. It's something. But I have, again, texture. I have felt, and I have, or this is like a corduroy bread. Love those. I wish I could find more of those. And then fabric, okay? So again, keeping texture in my mind as I'm building a kit. Now here's something I want to show about embellishments, because I think that's basically what I wanted to show. Now with that bonus embellishment, let that be your favorite embellishment or something new that you want to break out and try. And then also too, maybe you could challenge yourself with an embellishment, okay? Say, I don't know, I've had that cork in my inventory for a while in my stash. Maybe I should try to challenge myself. Or maybe if you have some stragglers, you want to challenge yourself to finish up a pack. That would be good too. Okay, I wanted to talk about one more thing as you're making a kit, because this is something I find that happens to me when I'm making a kit, and I wanted to talk about it. And it is how sometimes when you pair things together, they're not even from the same manufacturer or even the same year, and they seem to work together. And this is what happened when I was building this kit. And of course I was tickled, yes. Okay, so of course, you know, I had said this authentic paper I had just recently got in some travels, during some travels, and it's from 2018, okay? So then I decided that when I picked my papers, I was going to use this photo play paper, which the colors went very well. Okay, I was very tickled with that because this is 2018 and this photo play paper, it's from Falling Leaves. It's from 2016. Okay. So then as I was picking embellishments, I came across, of course, this chipboard. And it was so tickled because not only is it, you know, it has some dimension, it's chipboard, but honest to goodness, look how well it goes with. I mean, I'm astonished. You would think that this chipboard was made with this photo play. I mean, is that not an exact match? This photo play paper was 2016. This We Are Memory Keepers Country Living 2013. That's 3 years apart. And then it's 5 years apart from this authentic. I mean, every time I make a kit and that happens, I get astonished. And then, of course, you know, I was going with texture. So I looked through this cork, and this cork matches the chipboard, which matches the paper. And so we have items from 2013, 2014, 2016, 2018, and the 3 different manufacturers. That amazes me, and I love when that happens. So, of course, I say this a lot when I'm making a kit. You can pair anything together if you go by mood and feel, and then if you go by colors. It doesn't matter if it's the same year, same manufacturer. Throw that out the window. So I absolutely love how these embellishments, and I'm telling you what, well, you know, this is 2013, so I've had this 5 years, hasn't even been opened, hasn't even been used, but it's going to get used in this kit. Yes, love that. And you can see too with these cork. Okay, what is this, 2014? Not a single one of those have been used. Okay, so excited about that. Okay, so then the last thing that we are going to talk about embellishments is the finishing touches. Now, for everybody, those finishing touches may be different. And of course, for a lot of us, it's enamel dots. So you can add them now in your kit, or just, you know, that's a finishing touch. You can add that later. Same with sequins, nouveau, crystal drops, that type of thing. And then also too, a lot of people use mist and sprays. So you can absolutely keep that in your mind, or, you know, pull some out. It's up to you what your finishing touches are. And if you want to pull them out now, put them in the kit or pull them out later. You can do that. Okay. So now If you have any questions when it comes to making your kit, if you need any help, please list it below, because if I can't help, one of my lovely subscribers will, because we have a great group of women on this channel. Love that. And then, so now what are we going to do? Well, I'm going to get these things in an organized manner, and then we're going to start cutting papers, okay? So if you want to pause and come back to this 3 days from now, you can. I'm just going to now start cutting papers. Okay, hang on. Okay, so now let's start cutting our papers and having some fun. Yes, I even enjoy just this process, yes. So what you're going to do before you start cutting and getting that trimmer all revved up, you are make sure you don't skip this step and that you write down your papers. Like I have my number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5, okay? Now you can go ahead and put your number 5 bonus sheet to the side because we won't be cutting that, but I'll talk about that in just a minute. So let's get started. And papers 1 to 3 is going to be exactly the same. And I will just do this. Now I go into a little bit more cutting if if I go a little too fast, so I will link that below. And the first thing I do is I'm going to move this up a tad because I'm left-handed. I absolutely cut my headers off of everything because sometimes I find that distracting. Okay. And I will give a tip about that. Don't always go by what the manufacturer says the header is. Go by the inches, the 12 inches on your trimmer, because that is not always accurate. On every manufacturer, it's a little bit different. Okay, so then there is my 12-inch piece of paper, and then I want to see what my direction is, okay? And my direction is this way, okay? So that is one thing I want to say right off the bat. We're all going to be using different papers with different patterns. So when you're cutting your measurements, you want to make sure that your cuts are the way you may want them. And I know for this paper 1, 2, and 3, I'm going to have a 6-inch piece, so I want to make sure that my 6 inches is going to go this way, okay, not this way. So I want to make sure when I'm doing my cutting that when I cut my 6 inches, I know that I want that 6 by 12 in the horizontal format. So pay attention to your text before you start getting too excited to cut your papers. Okay, now the first one we're going to do is cut a 1/2-inch piece. Now you simply can come over here and you can certainly just to go 11.5 and there's your 1/2-inch piece. But I guess because I have been scrapbooking so long, when I think 1/2 inch, I just come right over here to this line and I do a 1/2 inch, okay? And that's exactly what we're going to do, a 1/2 inch. And I'm just double checking because I only have one of these, okay? And that goes with the old school saying, measure twice, cut once, okay? So we are going to cut a 1/2-inch piece, okay? Love this paper. Okay, there's my 1/2-inch piece. Okay, now the next piece is cut a 6 by 12. And again, I'm going to flip this because that's just the way I do my trimming, but everybody knows how to cut a 6-inch piece of paper. Okay, and again, I'm paying attention that I want this in a horizontal format, so when I cut that, I'm going to have it the way I want it. Okay, so don't be afraid to flip your paper around a little bit to get your 6 by 12. Okay, there's our 6 by 12. Oh, that's going to be a pretty page. Okay, and then we're going to rotate our paper, okay, because if you're going to notice, this is not 5 or 6 inches anymore. It's now 5.5. But this 5.5 by 12 piece, we are going to cut at 6 inches. So I'm putting it here at 6, okay, and then we're going to cut it at 4 here right on my trimmer at 4. I'm just double checking, okay, and then we're going to be left with a 2-inch piece, okay. So these are basically a 2 by 5.5, a 4 by 5.5, and a 6 by 5.5. But don't worry about that. Just do it like I showed it. And we're going to do it again, okay? And just put all of them in a pile. Yes, okay? So the number 2 paper, we're going to do the same thing. Okay, and I always cut my headers off. And I apologize that I do things upside down. But if you're left-handed, this looks completely normal. Yes, lefties, we have it a little bit going on, don't we? Okay, so there's my 1/2-inch strip. Okay. And then again, I could just come here and cut this, but that's just not what I do. I flip it. Anyway, to get your 6 by 12, you do it however you do it, okay? We all get into a certain habit, don't we? Okay? And then I'm flipping this, okay? And so you can see that's not exactly 5.5 because each paper is different. I'm telling you, you can cut the same paper by the same manufacturer, by the same collection 10 times, and it will all look different, okay? We're going to cut first at 6. Then we're going to cut at 4, okay, and then we're going to have a 2-inch piece left. Okay, very few. I mean, this process goes so fast. Absolutely love it. Again, I'm cutting off my branding strip, and I always bring my paper here to my 12 inches before, and then I look to see where my branding strip will actually land, because see, I have that right at 12 inches. My branding strip goes into my 12 inches of paper. Each manufacturer just does, they just do it different. Sometimes I'm wondering if it's different because of the paper runs. See, I'm actually going to get some of that pink. Dang it, dang it, dang it. See, if I cut, some of that Bella Boulevard is going to actually be part of my 12 inches. So I guess I'm going to have to sacrifice a little bit. And see, I'm going to get just 1/8 of an inch. Well, not even 1/8, but I'm going to get a sliver off. So that is a tip. Pay attention to your branding strips. They're not always what they seem to be. Okay, so again, my 1/2 inch piece of paper. Now this really doesn't make a difference because it's just dot. I have no really direction. But I just cut my paper in a certain way, and I think my trimmer blade, it's going to start the process of needing changed. Yes, I can see a little bit of, I don't know if you can see that, but I see a little bit of roughness. So I might have to change my trimmer blade. But honestly, we're going to be done cutting here because there's a 6. I'm cutting at the 4 mark. Oh yes, see? See that rough edge? I don't know if it'll show up. Yes, okay, so it's going to be time to change my trimmer blade, or I can get out my, and you're going to see this coming up, or you already did see it coming up. Okay, where's that? I'm going to get my little emery board here, and I'm going to just extend that just a tad longer. Yes, okay. So then, that was my pieces 1, 2, and 3. Okay, and they were all cut the exact same way. And you saw it really didn't take much of an effort because I was chatting the whole time. Okay, and just keep them in a pile because you wrote it down, right? So you don't have to remember what your papers were, right? Because you wrote it down. Because we're going to be doing this over about a week time, so you won't remember. You just won't. Okay, I even have notes and I still have to go look. Okay, so again, I'm going to check my branding strip here. And photo play, you got it on the mark, my friend. Love it, love it, love it. Okay, so now we're going to cut this into 2 4x12 pieces, okay? Now I have to tell myself, do I want this horizontal or do I want it in the vertical? Because I could cut it simply this way, or I could cut it this way. So again, if you have a certain design or a certain text, pay attention before you start cutting. You know, it doesn't hurt to flip it and say, well, which way is that going to go? Which way do I want it this way? Okay, so I know I want it in this horizontal because that's my style. So I'm cutting a 4x12, 4. Okay, and I'm going to do that twice. Okay, such simple. And I tell you what, that little emery board helped there. Yes. Okay, now we're going to cut 2 inches. Okay, and then we're going to be left with a 2 inch. We're going to cut that in half, basically. So 1 inch, and then we're going to be left with a 1 inch. So simple. And again, this is one of those steps that you write it down and then you take your time, because a lot of us maybe only have, I only have one of that, and I only had one of that authentique. Okay, so then we are left with our bonus sheet. So I'm going to go ahead and cut off my branding strip so it will be ready to go, regardless of how I want to use that. Okay, I just like having my papers like that. Now, if anybody wanted to know what these were, I guess I should have said that because I do get asked that. Okay, so this one was, do I even know? I just cut it off. Okay, that one was, oh, I don't even know. I think it was Time to Rake. Hello Autumn, Time to Rake. Yes. And then this photo play paper here. That was Falling Leaves, called Autumn Color. Okay. So then my next two, my orange and my green, were from the same Bella Boulevard. Okay. And they were from the Thankful line. Okay. And then my inspiration piece, the one that started it all, was Authentique by the collection Pleasant. Okay, so those are my papers. So again, I have them all. I'm just going to keep them all in a pile because it really doesn't matter. Okay, I'd much rather have them grouped together as my number rather than in size. Okay, because as we do our layouts, I'm going to be saying pull from paper 1, pull from paper 2, and so forth and so on. Okay, so that is cutting our papers. I have my bonus sheet here. I can put my trimmer away because we really won't need the trimmer again till we get to our cards. How fun is that? I mean, really saves a lot of time. Okay, so that will be all I have for today as far as making the kit and cutting the papers. If you have any further questions, please just list them below, and then we will start layout 1 on Thursday. And so that means we're going to do a 1-photo layout. But if you don't want to do a 1-photo layout, that's okay. You know, I'll show options, and also too, if you want to do a 2-page, we're going to talk about that too. So come back on Thursday and we're going to be doing layout number 1 in our 4for4 series. Okay, come back to RTS because you never know what we're going to learn. Bye.